Hey everybody, this is Michael Bryson. I'm here with Greg Ulysse for This is Bodybuilding. This week we're just going to do a recap of what we talked about last week, which was the New York Pro. It went pretty good. What did you think about it, Greg?
You know what? It was a good show. I mean, on the men's side, it was very good. The women, like not a lot of athletes, but good ones that came out. But all in all, it was a good show. It was a very good show.
Yeah, I think some of the classes were pretty small, but they were competitive.
Yes,
So
exactly, for sure.
it was good in that case. It's a little disappointing, especially on the women's side, that there were so few that showed up for
Very few, very few.
bodybuilding, especially, but also
Yeah,
in physique. But like you said, the ones that showed up were ready and they
they did.
performed
They
well.
did
So it
work
was,
for sure. They did the work. Yeah.
so we'll talk about, I guess, the big one, the men's open.
Yes.
Our predictions were not so far off, really.
No,
I think
we won it.
we both predicted that the top two was going to be Nick and Justin, and that's what
Exactly,
happened.
exactly. That's it. It came out that way. And you know what? I was impressed by Nick Walker.
Yeah,
Nick, you know what? Last year when he did Chicago last year, you know what? All the hype, he was good, but he wasn't something I was like, whatever. But when he came out Saturday, I think it was a clear-cut winner. The more I looked at the pictures and I looked at what you call it, the video and everything, Nick really walked through victory. I mean, he looked polished. His posing was good. He improved his body immensely, and he beat Justin Rodriguez, a guy that just won Indy a
yeah,
week after, a week before, and a top 10 Olympian on that for
yeah.
that. So
I thought, looking at pictures, I had, and I looked at pictures and saw some video afterwards of.
mhm.
I didn't get to watch it live, unfortunately, but I
Okay.
did quite a bit of it online, NPC News online, great source. So
Mhm.
I had Nick winning, but I have to say that I know some people who were there at the show who thought it could have gone either way. I think a lot of, and this is what someone told me who knows quite a bit about posing,
Okay.
that Nick, when he's hitting those poses, he's right on. Justin seems to have trouble flexing everything at the same time. Like when he's hitting his back double bicep, sometimes the hams aren't flexed and the glutes aren't flexed. Sometimes even the front double bicep, his quads, he lets go. But that's part of it, right? That's part of the
And
competition.
you know what? And I'll concur on that because at one point, Justin could on a back lat spread, Justin could not open his lats. He just couldn't open them, and he
Mm-hmm.
was like stuck, like probably a cramp or something.
Must
And
have
his
been.
back lat spread, and his lat spread from the back is humongous, and it didn't
Yeah.
come out. So you know what? When
I
you
think he kind
add
of
all
did on finals though, but yeah, during prejudging, he was
Christian killed him,
yeah.
and Nick came in like it was war, and he came in very very good, very very good actually.
Yeah, I think Nick, you know, I think he's going to do very well at the Olympia too for his Olympia debut.
You know what? I was said that to someone, and I'll go out on a limb. Nick will probably make top 10
Oh
because
yeah,
if you know what, if I look at it that way, from last year's standings, Nick, the way he looked at the New York Pro, if you put him in a lineup of last year, Nick finishes pretty high.
yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you for sure.
And you know what? I'm thinking Nick would have battled Akeem and probably Ian,
Mhm.
and that,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure, for sure.
I can see that. And I also think he's only going to be better come October. Matt
Sure.
Jansen, man, got to give shout out to Matt, doing some really great stuff with
Oh yeah,
great
Matt
athletes.
with that, yeah, Sean, it has him. He has
Yeah,
I call the 1-2 punch. It's very good, very very good.
yeah, yeah. So big things for the Olympia for Matt Jansen, I'm sure.
For sure.
Second place, Justin Rodriguez, already going to the Olympia, thanks to his win the week before
Hmm.
at the end of the Pro. So I think he's shutting it down. I would hope he's shutting it down. Spoke a little bit to Abdullah, his coach,
Okay.
via Instagram and such, and I think they feel good about where he is and what he's going to be looking like come the Olympia. So I'm sure he's going to do well as well.
Oh no, Mike, you know what? Justin qualified himself last week by winning Indy. I'm probably gonna shut it down. I would shut it down myself because right now,
Yeah.
you know, you qualified, you're good. There's no point of going into in Cali. Take that time to regroup because now you know that you have someone like Nick who's on your heels right now and somebody you need to beat now.
Mhm.
And because remember, Justin finished 10th last year at the Olympia, so Nick is gunning to get that place or even higher.
Right.
So it's gonna be just you know the thing. Justin looked very good at the show. You know, if Justin wasn't there, Justin was in the show.
Oh
But
yeah.
he was in the show, but he came in against Nick that was polished, that looked great. And his posing was great. So he came against somebody that, when you get beat after that was better than you, there's no problem. That on that night, Nick was just a better bodybuilder than him.
Yeah. And it was definitely, though, a two-man show, I think, in terms
Yeah,
of
for sure.
who was going for first. Hassan, I'm sorry. He placed third, but I think it was a distant third to the other guys. He's huge. He's got crazy quads, like the size of Rami's maybe, but the conditioning just wasn't what it needs to be. And that's kind of what we kind of thought, I think, going into it, what we were going to see.
And you know what? That's exactly what we talked about last week. And Hassan has all the tools to win pro shows easy. But probably the thing with Hassan, his conditioning wasn't really on. He was good. Not bad, he was good. But when you're going against a guy that like Nick, who was polished like crazy, and against Justin, you need to come in 100%. We're going to get third. Because potentially speaking, if you would have came in, peeled and everything, you could have won that show. Because pound per pound, he's the biggest guy. But he has probably likes to fine tune his conditioning. I would say come in lighter because he can lose 5 pounds and it's gonna be even better. I think you know what he has the same plan that Rami had for all those years. At one point, that you have the size, just come in condition because once he come in condition, he's gonna win any shows he wants.
Yeah. Do we know who's his coach? Do you know his coach?
It's Chris Aceto.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, Chris.
Yeah. You know, sometimes it's not the coach at all,
No. And you know what? Probably I'm thinking Hassan's a work in progress.
Yeah.
He's gonna get there. And you know what? I think from what I heard, he's gonna do Cali also. He's doing Cali. So you know what?
Smart.
If he goes like that, I think he might end up with the Olympia, maybe on points.
Yeah.
But you know what? He has 2 weeks to fine tune. He could come in 2 weeks and come in crazy and win that show.
Exactly.
But from what I heard, if he comes in really good, I don't see too many people beating him unless there's big names coming in.
Right. Yeah.
But he has to come in good.
He could definitely take that show.
Yeah.
In fourth place was Dorian Haywood. Now, I had predicted that Onwin would make it into the top 5, possibly as high as 3, but I thought 4th for sure. On was looking to me like he was about 2 weeks out, which I think he actually was, because I think the initial plan was to do the Cali Pro, and they made the jump into the New York Pro because of how they thought he was looking. So they did that, and he ended up placing 7th. Dorian, what did you think? I thought the places of Dorian in 4th, Muhammad was 5th, and Lesnick was 6th. Those guys, what did you think about their placings?
You know what? Dorian was better than last week. Even though Dorian, aesthetically, he's not the most pleasing guy, but he's a big guy. He's very big. He doesn't miss, he has all the body parts. You know what? And he's a big guy, and he was conditioned. He was more conditioned than the week before.
Yeah.
The thing with Muhammad wasn't as good as he was last week. And he was going against, stiffer competition. So, that's why he got it probably in the 5th. But Dorian, you know what? If Dorian comes in like that, he might end up at the Olympia on points. Because you know what? He's a type of bodybuilder. You know what? He reminds me of a bit, of what's his name? He turned pro as a master.
Josh Wade?
Josh Wade, exactly. That's it. Exactly. So look, if these are types of bodies that they're gonna grind points, those gonna finish in that top five, you know. So he might have the Olympia. So if I were him, I would continue on because his condition will only get better as the weeks go by, you know. So probably
Yeah,
he's gonna do Cali in 2 weeks and get more points there. You know, he might end up at the Olympia. But you know what? He did good. He did good. You know, it was better
yeah.
than last week, so that was good.
Blessing. Well, I mean, he didn't make the top five. He was sixth. I think that
No,
we thought he wouldn't make the top five.
we said that.
I think that even he could have been swapped out with On for sixth and seventh. But you know, he just, like we said last week, I think he's got really nice shape. He just needs more of everything, pretty much,
Mhm.
except biceps.
He needs, well, no, biceps are amazing, but he needs more time in the gym. And you know what? I think he shut it down. He's not doing Cali from what I saw on Instagram. So he's gonna take time for himself, time to improve. Because you know what? At this point, he needs to improve. Just
Yeah,
improve on body parts. But you know what the thing is? He needs time because to improve on legs and back, those are huge body parts, and it takes a lot of time. So if I
yeah,
were him, I mean, I would take that time to improve and probably pick a show next year or later in the year.
I agree.
So late in the year. So it gives you more time to really work on those weak points because the shape is there. The shape is
Yeah,
there, is entertaining. People like him. And you know what? That at that matchup he had with Nick right now is way above. So if I were him, don't think about Nick. Think about improving from what you are because he has the tools to be great, but he just needs time.
yeah. I do think though that it did add some excitement.
Oh, he did,
The
he did, he did, he did, he did.
we there's not too much going on in bodybuilding, so I think that was kind of a fun thing.
Yeah, yeah, it was
But
fun.
unfortunately, it wasn't very close. Wasn't very close between him and Nick.
No, no,
There's
no,
miles
no,
differences
no,
between.
no. No, I thought, you know what I thought? I thought that maybe Tyler would have done for the public, like a comp, like a
Two man.
matchup between, yeah, two man, you know, just for the public, you know, because but Tyler, you know what? That's the I liked about Tyler. It wasn't influenced by the media or whatever. He just kept it the way it is because if you look at it from the standpoint, um, Blessing was nowhere near first call out. So basically, they kept it like that, which is good. Which is good.
And even if he made the first call out, he would definitely
No,
was
no,
no
no, 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 no,
Nick.
no. As
You
you
know,
said,
so it
it
would have
was a
if they
two-man
had just the
show.
two of them together, it would have
No, no,
been
no.
yeah. So let's talk about the 212.
Yes,
Nathan Epler won, and we kind of had him. We thought he was in the running to win that show. That
exactly.
division.
And you know what? What a year for him.
Yeah,
On your first year, I mean, Nate, you know what? It's fun because, like you were saying on Instagram, the 212 changed in the sense that the guy's a little taller, a little shapelier. Because we had the era where we had Jose and these guys, like shorter guys, stockier guys, and that guys are taller, you know? They
yeah.
almost look like classic guys, almost a little
Almost
bigger,
bigger
almost classic,
legs, and
bigger
yeah.
legs, yeah, 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 you know?
I think his
But
cutoff for his height in classic, I might be wrong, but I think it's 200 pounds.
okay, so
So
it's
he's
yeah,
still, yeah, 12 pounds. He can add more muscle.
oh yeah, for sure. And he made, you know what? He looked, you know what the thing with him is like, there's nothing that stands out, but that's the thing. Everything is there. There's
Yeah, he
nothing missing.
flows beautifully.
He
I
flows
love
perfect.
his physique.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. You know what? He flows well. There's no weak points. The conditioning was perfect, you know.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, its first place was well deserved. Very well deserved.
Yeah. It
Oh
was
yeah.
very close. I was looking at the scorecards. I think he won both prejudging and finals by 1 point over
Okay.
Don
Okay.
Jewett,
John do it.
both halves of the show. So a 2 point
Yeah.
difference all throughout. And John looked great too, I thought.
And you know what? John was amazing. I mean, his
Yeah.
condition was on. And you know what? But I can understand John because you're like, what did I do? Or what? You know what? I was saying to someone, it's not that John was missing something. It's that Nathan had that little something extra, a
Yeah.
little rounder and all that. Because, and honestly, you know what? If John would have won, nobody would have complained. Nobody
Yeah.
would have
No one would
complained.
have thought that's ridiculous, right? Yeah.
No, no, nobody would have complained. But on that day, he looked a little more polished, a little more, it's just that. And Nathan won. But from what I heard, John is shutting it down for the year.
Really.
From my point, yeah, yeah. So he's gonna probably wait for next year. I'm surprised because I would have thought, let's try another show, but I understand what he's doing. And but Nathan at Olympia is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Nathan at the Olympia, interesting, because now at the Olympia, the guys are a little bigger, a little shorter. But I like to see in the mix what's going to do like in that mix.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think he's a little taller than George Peterson, or
really
maybe about the same height. I mean, is he like 5'8"?
From what I think it's about 5'7", 5'8". Because
Okay.
it's on the top side.
George is just a hair under 5'8", so they might be about the same height.
Okay.
Third place was Noel, and fourth place was Derek Osland.
Okay.
I had it. I mean, again, I wasn't there personally up close, but I was favoring Derek. I just like his shape better. I think he's got a really.
Oh yeah, you know what? His shape is amazing. He has great shape, small waist, like great structure. And they could have flip-flopped, but I understand Noel. Noel, you know what? Noel looks like the original 212. Those stocky guys, big legs, big guns, whatever, So they went for that. Derek, if I were Derek, I would continue this year because his condition got better.
It got better from the week before, yeah.
The week before, I got a lot better. So if I were him, I would probably try to hold it, pick another show. You know what? He might end up. He has a chance to win. He has the physique to win a show.
He definitely does. Yeah. I mean, I think he has the physique to be top 5 at the Olympia. If he like really nails it. But he's got the physical gifts otherwise. And then Justin Randall, who I think we both kind of thought had a good chance of making the top 5. He did make the top 5.
He did. Justin looked good. And you know what? Justin didn't do anything bad because last week he looked good too. But like I said, this week he came in with stiffer competition and guys that were close. Like you see, last week, Derek wasn't on, but he wasn't far off.
Right.
So you see, within that week, he changed and he went from 9th to 4th. And that's because probably condition got better and all that. And the shape of Derek got him over Randall at the same time.
Yeah. In classic physique, just talk a little bit about it. We both predicted Danny Unin was going to win.
Yeah. He did.
He looked great. That wasn't really a surprise, but what was a surprise for me was who placed second was Zeke Andrews. Now I'm not familiar with Zeke. Was this his debut?
I think so because I've never seen him, but he looked amazing.
He did.
I mean, he looked detailed, and you know what? Even though Danny won, it wasn't a cakewalk because the guy beside him looked very good. Yeah. And on certain shots, he was better than Danny on certain shots. But in the end,
very close.
It was very close. Yeah. That guy, if that guy picks a show, if he does this show in this weekend, he could win this weekend. I know the list about this weekend and Shreveport there, but if he does the show this weekend, he could win. He could win.
I was just looking at the scorecard. Danny placed straight. Well, they only get scored for one round pre-judging, and it was 3 for him and 6 for Zeke. So a clear first and second in the judges' eyes. It was very close though. Danny, of course, I think is going to do really well in the Olympia. He always does when he's there. He's really, really good. Zeke, I think we'll see him if he can hold on. If he looks this good in the next show, he'll, I'm sure, make his way to the Olympia.
Going to make his way for sure.
Big surprise for me was the Russian Dmitry Vorotiniski. I don't even want to try his name. I think he was third, and that's I'm horrible with pronunciation of names. He was third, I think, in the Indy Pro, and now dropped down to 12th in this show. But he was looking at when I looked at the pictures, he was just. It just looked like a different bodybuilder. He was. There was a film of water or something. His coloring wasn't good.
You know what happens sometimes? It's hard to keep your peak. It's hard because probably if you peaked once, it's hard to hold the weeks after. And probably what happened, this guy was probably near his peak or whatever, and during the week they did something wrong, and probably they couldn't manage a rebound or whatever. So then you have to come back. You look like two different people. That's what happened for him, because to go from 3rd to 12th, it's just a big drop. But I understand because to hold that peak is hard. It's very hard.
When you were competing, did you ever do that type of thing where you did 2 shows like within a week
Okay.
or 2 days?
You know what? I did it once. And the thing is about when you have shows back to back, is to hold that peak. Some like Dexter was amazing on that. He
Yeah,
was able to hold it like whatever, but it's a tough thing to do. And what I realized, I'm not a big guy myself, but the bigger guys have a harder time because they have to manage more muscle. So you're going to see guys that are very big have a very hard time holding that peak. Okay, guys that are smaller, it's easier to get, because you don't have the same muscle mass. But I'm telling you, it's kind of hard because it's hard to come in 100%, especially in a week like you have 7 days. 2 weeks is okay, but 7 days is very hard because what happens sometimes, the guys, on that Saturday, they eat a bit on Saturday, eat a bit on Sunday, and then they try to manage the rebound. So from that point on, you have to manage that rebound so you don't have like a lot of water in your body, so be able to peak out for the next show. And that's why certain people, what they do, depending on, let's say, of the price money, they're gonna say, you know what? I'll give an example. If the Ironman was the first show, they say, you know what? At the Ironman, I'm gonna come in, it's close to my 100% and give all my shot at the Arnold, what was 2 weeks after. That was the thing. So that's why a lot of guys, in 2 weeks, you can do a lot of changes. 1 week is hard if you're not close to your peak. And if your peak, it's hard to maintain after that.
right. Okay, makes sense.
Okay.
Saber Favors round up the top 3 of the classic physique. I think he was 3rd at the Indy Pro too, or something.
Yes, he was. Yes.
He was 2nd. Beautiful physique on him. I wasn't
Absolutely.
really familiar with him either, but I don't know. Was this his first year or is he a rookie?
I think, what? The thing with classic physique, there's so many guys coming in every year.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up because now classic physique, there's so many guys that turn pro and come in. It's very hard because the only ones we know really well are the Olympians because they're almost always the same.
Yeah.
But then the new guys coming in, it's hard because every year guys are coming in. It's a great thing. So it's hard to establish people in classic because when they're established are the Olympia. So the new ones have to really make their name coming in.
Yeah, I think he looked really good again. He's got a beautiful physique. Let's talk about the women's a little bit. Women's bodybuilding, small class, only 5 girls. We both had predicted that LaDawn McDay was going to win, and clearly she just missed it altogether. Like she was.
It kind of angers me when you have all the tools to win.
Yeah.
Because she has the tools to win, and that show, and no offense to the other girls that were there or that did their job, it was her show to lose. Because she has beautiful shape and all that, but you know what? Shape will only get you so far. If you have someone beside you that comes in condition and all that, that's what happened there, you're gonna get beat. That's what happened.
Yeah, I personally had her not even placing 2nd in the show. It was won by Leah Denny.
Yes. Okay.
She was hard. She looked like a female bodybuilder, really good one. She won, I thought, pretty clearly. In 3rd was Tamara Makar.
Mm-hmm.
I had as a clear 2nd for me. I thought she looked great. She was.
Yeah, that. And what's her name? There's another girl. I think her name is Trisha something. I think she got 4th or 5th. I'm not sure. No, women physique. I'm sorry. But you know what? That show, LaDawn had every tool to win, and that's what really, it's something. It's a shame. It's a shame now because because that class wasn't big.
Yeah.
And the girls were good, but for her not to win that show, mentally it's gonna be hard because here's my thing. She can only get better because on that show, she wasn't close to the peak. She wasn't close to her best.
No.
So she does something else, but I don't know. Is she doing the show this weekend? Because the way she looked this week, the amount of work she has to do, she doesn't have enough time to really change for a week.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't.
I agree. So I think in some ways, the women's bodybuilding was a disappointing class because
It was.
of that,
It was.
perhaps.
It was.
Not just the way she looked, but also how I don't think she deserved that placing. And it's like we said, it's a show she should have walked away with. But
Mhm.
I think women's physique, however, there were 6 girls in women's physique. In 6th place was Trisha Bazarian,
Yeah.
who looked great. She just looked great. I thought they all did.
No, you know what? And once again, it's funny. Once again, the women's physique look better than females modelers.
Then
And
who?
that's something
The body.
that yeah. And that's something that happens a lot. Like the
It's
women's
interesting.
physique.
It's sort of like in men's bodybuilding, you'll see oftentimes the 212 guys come in, not every show, but oftentimes there are many shows where the 212 guys are much better condition
Yeah,
than men's
absolutely.
open. And
Absolutely.
and if for the women, it's the same thing. That
Same
lots
thing,
of
same
times
thing.
the women's physique girls look much better in condition. And man, they all looked great. We predicted that the top 2 was going to be between Sharonica and Alyssa.
Yeah.
Sharonica came into the show. She had taken, I think, a couple years off, but she was an established Olympian. She had placed 2nd in the Arnold.
Yeah.
I think in the industry, she was sort of the favored to win, but Alyssa making her pro debut, I thought was a pretty clear winner of the show.
You know what? I was about to say that. When they stand relaxed, Shanika looks amazing. Like the structure and all that, the height and all that. But
Yeah.
once they started to pose, that's when Elisa just took that thing and ran with it, because Elisa was conditioned, she was polished, she was improved from when she turned pro. Even though she was shorter, she looked a lot better. Her glutes were in, everything was in. So you know what?
Yeah.
It was, to me, it was a pretty like easy victory for me.
Yeah.
Like, in that sense.
It was I think Sharonica, she was a little downsized, especially I think in the legs from what she has been in the past. She still could win a show this year, I'm sure, and end up on the Olympia stage. But Alyssa, Hyson is her coach. Hyson, what's his last name?
Yesin, it's a French guy.
Yeah,
Yes, Yesin, I know him. Yeah, I know him. Very good.
Spacing. They did a great job. They worked really well together. They had great chemistry. And he wasn't there. He's in, I think, the Netherlands.
In France. No, France. In France?
Oh, maybe. I'm not sure.
In France.
But she, I don't know if she could have been any better. The conditioning was great. Her posing was amazing. Sharonica had a great posing routine as well. She's a good poser. But Alyssa's sort of in my opinion, a class towards the top of the elite posers in the IFBB. She does some things that a lot of people, she hits the most muscular pose, and a lot of people think it's too masculine. But what I love about when she hits it, she hits it very much like Red Francis used to hit it. She goes right from that into the feminine side chest pose, and it's just a real position. So you go, oh yeah, wow, she's pretty too. I thought I was really, really happy for her. I thought it was a clear win.
Oh, no, she deserved it.
Yeah.
There was no debate. She deserved it. I mean, I don't think anybody saw that show any different after what you saw.
Yeah.
None.
What do you think? How do you think she'll do at the Olympia?
Oh, but you know what? The Olympia is a different beast, because now you have girls that are bigger. Because I mean, it's gonna be, she can do well. I mean, you know what? I don't know where she can place at that point, because you have to have them stand next to each other.
Right. I felt the way about Rachel Daniels last year, because she was small-ish. She's not a big girl. I think they're about the same height. They're like 5 foot, 5 foot.
Same height. I was about to think about it. Same height.
Yeah, and I thought, no, she looked great at the New York last year when she won the New York Pro. She great conditioning. I wasn't sure how she would do at the Olympia. She did, but I was hopeful, and she did do well. She placed 7th.
Yeah, for sure.
I think if Alyssa wins, she won the show. You know, it's funny when I think of things like people say things like, "Who wanted it more?" I think they all want it with all their heart and
No, they
soul.
all
But
want. At
there's
this point, they all want it. I mean,
yeah, there is something in her when she comes on that stage.
yeah.
It's sort of like, I don't know. There's a presence there.
But you know what?
She's
And you're right, because nobody goes through all of that to lose. But
right.
certain people have more, I would say, gifts than others, you know? Um, Elisa came in, she was confident and all that. She came in, and I remember when she went on your podcast and you got into her, in her mind, she was winning that show.
Right.
She was winning that show, no but debate. And in her mind, she was at the Olympia in October. It's going to be there. Um, it's going to be an interesting matchup between her and Rachel. About the same height,
Yeah.
same features. You
I think
know,
that's
that's going to be
yeah.
interesting.
I think we were all kind of hoping to see that so much at the New York Pro. That would have been totally fire. This would have been amazing if Rachel had been able to do the
Oh,
show,
no.
but she wasn't.
To
But
me, it would have been the same as Justin and Nick, but only on that side. It's going to be like, you know, they're different. Yeah, yeah. But we're going to have
but
probably a match probably soon.
we'll see it at the Olympia, I think.
No, probably for sure. Yeah, probably, yeah.
Wellness. We had I think we both kind of picked Urishna
Maybe
to
it's not
win,
to win. Yeah.
and she placed second to Angela the week before. This week it was reversed, and I think
But there is,
I think she did look improved, so it was a well-deserved win.
you know, it's a deserved win. And you know what? In my mind, she was going to Olympia somehow. And you
Yeah,
know what? Angela winning last week, her winning this week, you know, it's okay. They're gonna have that rubber match probably at the Olympia, probably next week. I don't know. But now you know what? They're because Yarishna, you know what? She looks wellness. She's a different type of wellness than Angela. It's like two different types. You have the taller one with Angela, Yarishna the shorter one, you know, but they both look great. And I was like, you know what? And I think these two girls at the Olympia are gonna do good. Very good. Very, very good.
yeah. Figure was won by Maria Diaz.
Yeah, I saw her. Yeah. You know what?
I, I'm not a huge fan of her physique. I feel like for that division, it's called figure. Her figure is not that great. You know, her genetic figure, she's wide at the waist. From the side, she's thick in the midsection, but they love her. She wins shows all the time and places well. She's always up to the Olympia, but I don't know.
But it's
I
the
don't see.
thing. Is you know what? Is when she gets to the Olympia, that's when she gets into more probably because she'll go against good that have better genetics, better structure. You know, and you know sometimes you know you're only as good as the people standing next to you. Just as it happens, you know, because
Right.
she won that show. Physically, aesthetically, she's not one of my favorites, but I can understand the reasoning why she won. Okay, but then when she gets to the Olympia, that's when things get normalized because then you realize that like her weak points are really more apparent once she gets there.
Right.
But she won.
Uh,
Well done.
Bikini. I think we both thought Ashley Kaltwalser was going
Good one.
to walk away
The
with
win.
that show and get her 26th pro win, which would have tied her with Ronnie Coleman.
Coming in.
But she was beaten by Romina Bass, who
Yeah, Romina. Yeah.
was at her absolute best. So they both looked amazing. It was
that class is you never know with that class. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. To me, bikini is the most unpredictable class of all of them because you never know. You
right.
never know.
Yeah, and I sometimes think it's for me it's very hard to judge it too. When I'm there, it's really, really close to me with the top five always. I can never decide who I think is the best. When I look at pictures later, I can discern what the judges were looking at. And in the show, I can't, I mean, they were definitely top two and it could have gone either way, I think. And it is what it is. Well, Romina's going.
No, for sure. She's going to Olympia, you know, and Ashley's always there. So, you know, so Ashley hasn't lost anything really.
No.
When you're at Olympia, you know, so, you know.
Look, I think Ashley still has all the tools to win another Olympia. She's excellent.
She's relevant. Right? You know what? And that's the thing about bikini. her body is still relevant for the Olympia.
Yeah,
She still can do things at the Olympia. She still.
right. Maybe she'll do something else too between now and then, and Ty Ronnie. We'll see what happens.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised.
Men's physique was the only one that we didn't talk about, but I don't really know too much about
No,
any of
I've
the
not. No.
guys.
I
The only
don't
guy
know
who I
because
knew, who I'm really kind of very familiar with, is Akeem Scott, who placed sixth, and I really thought in my head he was going to win the show, but it was won by Aaron Banks, and I don't know too much about.
no, I like that's the thing. I saw like I think there were 40 guys at the show, 40 or something.
It was a whole heck of a lot, yeah, something like that.
Like 40 guys. I know. So I don't really know much about a guy there, but I saw him. And he looked good. I mean, he looked like a nice physique guy. Look good. At the Olympia, we'll see. Like his shape reminds me of Raymond Edwards a bit.
The winner?
When you look, yeah, the winner.
Yeah. Well, I can see that. Yeah, looking at him right now, that. Yeah, I mean, he looks great.
Yeah, it's good. No, for sure.
Yeah,
But
that's great
men's
physique.
physique is even men's physique. It's a hard class because these
Wow.
guys are
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
he looks really good. I hadn't really looked too closely
No.
at men's physique because I didn't have the time to look at it too much going into it when we were doing our preview. So I didn't really pay too much attention afterwards either. But he looks amazing, and I think he'll do. He's great. Looks great.
Yeah.
So we have the Cali Pro coming up in 2 weeks or a week and a half now from now.
Yeah.
I don't know who exactly is doing that show, but
No, all I know is that from what I'm thinking, Patrick Moore is doing the show.
I may have heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he wrote something on his Instagram. He wrote down 13 weeks out, and 13 weeks out happens to be the Cali Pro.
Yeah.
You know?
He's a great bodybuilder, great physique. When he's on, he's really dangerous.
And he is. And you know what? I'm surprised because he was supposed to take a year off to improve and all that. I hope he wants to show. Because I'm telling you, the Olympia this year there's not too many shows. So now as the weeks go by, we're gonna have a lot of crap shows, a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
And as we said last week, some guys will not do the Olympia that we never thought would not do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we have a good chance of seeing Patrick there. I know he's in a really good headspace now. He's like very happy in life, and pictures I've seen of him, he looks great.
And you know what? And he has the tools himself. But you know what? Can you imagine we're gonna have at the Olympia this year? We have. You know what? People always go back to the 90s, saying, you know what, the 90s were a better time. I mean, if you look at it this year, with all the guys that might go in it, it's a pretty stacked show. And you know what? Any one of them can crack the top 6 or something, because it's not a definitive top 6. Like if you look at Valier and Labrada and Sergio and Kuklo and all these guys, if all these guys go in this year, we have a very good show coming in at the Olympia. A very good show.
Yeah. Kuklo is going to be doing, I know, the show in Dallas that's coming up. Well, it's actually in Irving, Texas, I think, in August. I'll be having him, actually, just to let everyone know, I think Steve is going to be my guest on next week. I'll be having Alyssa Kiesling as well. And a third person. I'll be actually doing 3 interviews next week. But I'm not going to do the third person is yet because I haven't got a definite yes.
Okay, no problem.
But yeah, Steve will be here next week, and Alyssa to go over her win. So it'll be cool stuff coming up.
And Steve is someone, that to me, Steve's an Olympian, and Steve is somebody that wasn't there last year. So can you now imagine now we have Nick coming in, we have Steve that might come in also, we don't know. We're gonna have a very stacked show at the Olympia if all these guys can qualify.
Yeah.
To get in somehow.
Absolutely. Greg, thanks so much for coming on again. I appreciate
Anytime, bro. Anytime. It was good.
I want everyone to know that Greg is a big part of this is bodybuilding. He and Jojo and Tafaro have helped me so much throughout all the different top 10 or top 20 or 30 or 40 lists that I do. You guys always have participated tremendously. I'm always bouncing thoughts off of you. So I really appreciate all
awesome. Awesome. You know what? I'm just glad to be part of the process because it makes my brain work. Because people do not see bodybuilding like we do. Because we look at history from the past and now, and it makes it fun. Makes it very, very fun, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward. You know what? Because this year we have good shows like Cali, and I believe, and if you, I think you might be right with me on that one. Tampa and Chicago are going to be two big shows this year.
Absolutely.
Chicago looks to be stacked with guys. Tampa is going to be nuts because that's the last show of the year. So I think we have good shows coming in, and that's the good thing about having a shorter season. So the guys have to be there, you know, like all these guys in shows like that. It's going to be more competitive.
Yes, I agree. It's gonna be a good time. Good
Yeah.
season this year.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right, brother. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. No
Thanks
problem,
everybody
man.
for watching. This is Michael Bryson and Greg Ulysse, and this is Bodybuilding. We'll see you next week.